Welcome to this edition of Lancaster Perspective. I'm Mike Miller. Our special guest today, candidates running for the position of Lancaster City Council President, Cathy Bitler and Greg Russell. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
We have put together 6 questions and determined that Greg will start in this format. So Greg, the first question to you, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself and your public service experience.
Well, I've been at Tiki Bowling Lanes for 23 years, and I'm currently the managing partner out there. I've been proud to call this town my hometown. I have served on City Council in 2008 and 2009, serving in the Finance Committee and IT and the Public Works. And I have locally served as council president or as president for Fairfield County Charity Newsies and a few other local organizations. I was vice president of the Fairfield Industries Board and was proud to do that for a couple years. So I'm very active in our community. I do a lot of fundraising efforts through Tiki Bowling Lanes for Bowling with the Buckeyes and breast cancer awareness and autism, and do a lot with the community. And I'm very, very proud to be a part of this area.
Thank you very much. Same question to Cathy Bitler. Please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself and your public service experience.
I appreciate you starting with the easy ones. I've been with South Central Power for the last 25 years and currently serve as the Vice President of Member Service and Community Relations. So I get to do a lot of work in government affairs, in community relations, in communication with our members, and everything from issuing the bill to collecting the money to telling people what's going on. And I have a great staff of about 40 folks who support those efforts. Prior to coming to South Central Power, I was with WLOH and WHOK, so some folks may remember me as Cathy Fitzpatrick. Came there right out of college, a graduate of Ohio University with both a master's and a bachelor's degree in communication. Like Greg, grew up here in Lancaster. We graduated within a year
Yes.
of each other at Lancaster High School. I've not had elected positions before in the government sector, but have spent many years, more than 30 years, in volunteer service here in Lancaster and Fairfield County. I have been president of Lancaster Rotary, the Chamber of Commerce, the Community Improvement Corporation. I have served on the Finance Committee for the Decorative Arts Center of Ohio, chaired the Central Ohio, Heart of Ohio Tech Prep Consortium. I serve currently as chairman of the OUL Coordinating Council. I served as a chairman of the local Alumni Association for OUL, chaired Lancaster Junior Women's Club 2 or 3 times. So just a long history of service in organizations throughout our community and in leadership positions in a number of those organizations. Really just where I feel that I've been able to make a contribution, and where people have said they can use a little help, I've tried to help.
Thank you. In our format, we'll alternate who starts the question. This one will go back to Cathy. What do you see as Lancaster, Ohio's biggest challenges?
You know, I gave this a lot of thought, Mike, before deciding to throw my hat in the ring, and there really are a couple of things that concern me about our community and where we stand today. First and foremost is the drug problem that we have. This is not the community that Greg and I grew up in. And the addiction problem that so many of our residents is facing is really detrimental to our community as a whole. So helping those folks who have addiction issues and then strengthening our community by fighting this tremendous drug problem, I think is probably our biggest challenge. Another area that I have a concern about that I've really seen just develop here over the last couple of years as our city changes is almost an uncivility, I guess, if that's a word. This whole idea of friendships and working together toward common goals. People seem to have really lined up on one side or the other of so many issues that have come before the city in the last couple of years. And I am concerned about how we pull those groups together to move people forward together toward a common goal and addressing our problems and challenges. And that's the kind of reason that really made me take a look at running for city council president and what could I do to help forward us, get us moving down the road. I've always been a big proponent that you're either part of the problem or part of the solution. And I don't want to be part of the problem by sitting back and doing nothing. So in order to do that, I had to step forward and say, how can I bring my leadership skills and my experience and my love for this community to help people work together to accomplish our common goals?
Thank you very much. Same question to Greg Russell. What do you see as Lancaster, Ohio's biggest challenges?
Well, I agree with Cathy. You know, the drug problem in Lancaster, the heroin problem is just way out of hand. But I got to give kudos out to our fine law enforcement. They have done a great job getting some off the streets, but it seems like every time they get 3 of them out of our community, then a couple more come in. So it's a constant fight, but I give a lot of credit to our fine law enforcement for trying to help solve those problems. The block watch people have just been phenomenal in both the Utica Block Watch and the west side of tipping off, watching their communities very closely, working together, and tipping off the local police force to try to bust these people and as they see crimes and drug activities happen in their communities. Again, being back on council in 2008 and 2009, we had some challenges on not having the funding to do streets, and I'm really looking forward. It's exciting to know we finally have a 10-year street levy that we can look forward to, and we want to make sure we are held accountable for that. And as president, we don't get a vote unless there's a tie, but like Cathy said, the unity. When I was on council before, we all got along. There was no R's and no D's. Everybody worked together, and Cathy's 100% right. Right now, there's just too much friction, and I'm hoping that there will be a few new faces that would be on council, and if I'm elected, I would like to make sure that I continue to work with the ones that I worked with before and the newer ones as well in the administration. So those are 2 of the challenges that we have down the road, and certainly the biggest is being held accountable, and we want to make sure that we tell the citizens and show the citizens that we can do this for a long term. I would like to see down the road a nice citywide plan, not just for the streets, but for our community. Cathy and I did grow up in the time frame that we didn't have all these drug problems, and we didn't have a problem parking down where the mid-off is and walking clear down to Kresge's or to Hickles or whatever, So it was a great downtown. So, and this is one of the things we want to bring back to our community is get our downtown built back up again as well.
Our third question in our series goes back to Greg Russell. What do you see as Lancaster, Ohio's biggest strength?
Again, we have the greatest law enforcement and firefighters that you could ask for. We're understaffed, yes, but I'll tell you, with what both Chief Bailey and Chief Ward have on their staff, I think they just do a phenomenal job. We have all of our departments, the street department, the water department, all of them, they all do a phenomenal job, and they all have not been able to hire anyone. They've lost people to attrition, and people has, whether it's an illness or whatever, that they are not able to replace people. And I'll tell you what, all the superintendents have stepped up to the plate and made things work within the budget that they were given from the administration and city council. So I just think we just have a great community. We have a lot of things to look forward to, and I think both Cathy and I, both at our hearts, we know that we can provide some expertise and working together and making Lancaster even better.
Question goes to Cathy Bitler. What do you see as Lancaster, Ohio's biggest strength?
I would say, Mike, that it's our people, our citizenry. When you look at how successful that our community and the people who live here have been in coming together to make what others might think that communities our size could never do happen, the Lancaster Festival. To be able to pull something like that off with all of those volunteer hours and people really understanding what a draw that is to our community and how that helps our tax base to have that event here. When you look at what goes on in terms of the things that Greg does out at Tiki, when there's a need in this community, people really, really come together. We have some needs and some challenges today. We have some needs and challenges on the horizon, and I am confident that there will be groups of individuals out there who will come together like they did with the Block Watch programs or any of the other things that we've seen accomplished so very well. Those folks will come together, they'll find solutions to the problems, and we'll put those solutions in place, and our city will be stronger. Greg is exactly right in terms of the tremendous support and efforts that the workforce in the city, those city employees have really come together, helped us get through some very, very difficult times. We're not through them yet. These financial pictures are going to continue to dog us throughout the next few years as changes come down at the state level and the federal level, and local government funds continue to go away, and there are tax changes at those levels that are going to directly impact our city budgets and the ability for us to provide services in our city. But we're doing it. People have come together and realized that this is the kind of community where they want to live, where they want to raise their children, and when people see that, they do what needs to be done. And I think that has always been the strength of our community, and I think it will continue to be.
Our fourth question in our series of 6 today goes back to Cathy Bitler. Briefly describe how you see the function and role of Lancaster City Council President.
Well, as Greg mentioned, we don't vote unless there's a tie. So when you think about it, there are a couple of very important roles that the president of city council plays. Probably the first and foremost is establishing those committees and determining which council members are going to serve on which committees. Ken Culver's done a great job with that, and I would hope to do half as well as Ken has done. But being really able to match up the skills and the expertise of those council members and make sure that those committees are strong and make sure that those committees are functioning to make sure that when legislation comes to the floor at council, people can explain the whole purpose and the reasons and call upon those folks that they need to help the citizenry understand why council's doing what council's doing. So that role of appointing the committees is extremely important. Then, of course, there's just the whole idea of running the meeting, making sure that things run very smoothly, that our laws are followed, and that the agenda is followed, and that the taxpayers and citizens of Lancaster have an opportunity to make their voice heard, and that that voice is listened to the extent that the president of council can do that. And then I think also there's a place for City Council to work with the administration to be a face of the community, to be out there and to be very visible and saying, this is my city, I live here, I want to make this city better, and putting that really good face. So I think those are three important roles that City Council President currently plays and can continue to play.
Thank you. Greg Russell, same question to you. Briefly describe how you see the function and role of Lancaster City Council President.
Well, I'll tell you, Ken has done a phenomenal job. Kathy hit that right on the nose. And it's been a great pleasure to call Ken my mentor, because back when Ken had thought about running for mayor, back when the last mayoral election had come up, and he came to me and said that he was going to run for mayor, and him and I started talking then about myself running for council president. Then he chose not to, so he stayed on another 2 years, but I still had that interest. Even though I did not make it the next 2 elections back on city council, I still continued to go to the meetings. I still went to committee meetings and stayed very active in understanding what was going on. A lot of things are wrapped up by November, December sometimes, but it's always good to have that transition, making a nice transition. And Ken would make that transition for either one of us very very smoothly. I will tell you that. Ken is just an outstanding individual, and he cares about the community like Cathy and I do. And she's right. We do. That's one of our important roles is to do the committee assignments. And one of the things I would like to do is meet with the superintendents after the election, if I'm elected, and say, you know, is there any interest that you would like to see of any of these individuals? We have a great group of individuals that currently serve on council, and they've got a lot of expertise. We've got some people that's water is his expertise. So, you know, and people like law and things like that. So we do have a little bit of a leadway by looking around the room, but sometimes it's time for a change. And I think that mixing some things up on council, either one of us can and see the expertise around the room, and I think that either one of us will have a nice council to work with. So again, Ken has just been a great mentor to me, and I've been by his side for quite some time now, and I appreciate everything he showed me.
Our fifth question will go back to Greg Russell. In the role of economic development, how does the city of Lancaster fit in?
Well, we would love to see a lot more business, that's for sure. Nobody likes to see just constant having restaurants or something like that. It's great, you know, minimum wage paying jobs, but and it is a position. But going out and trying to get big businesses, Mike Pettit has done a phenomenal job trying. I mean, people really do come and see our city, and he tries his best to take them throughout the city. I feel like Cathy does. It's an important position that you need to be out into the public, working with individuals. I think the president of city council should be right beside the mayor when they're out there talking to an individual, not just the mayor and Mike Courtney or Mike Pettit. I feel that the president should be a part of that process, helping to try to convince these people that they need to bring we have a great community, and our city would welcome them and work with them in every way they can to bring their business here to Lancaster.
Thank you, Greg. Same question to Cathy Bitler. In the role of economic development, where does the city of Lancaster fit in?
I'm really glad you asked this question, Mike, because this is a passion of mine. I have a lot of experience. As I mentioned, been with South Central Power for 25 years, and one of my jobs throughout those 25 years has been economic development. And I have had the opportunity to work very closely with Mike Pettit, with the economic development directors for the county, with our representatives at the what was the Ohio Department of Development, is now the Development Administrative Services or something. I can never remember the acronyms anymore. But I know how tax abatement works, and was in on the ground floor of helping to extend the foreign trade zone designation that's at Rickenbacker into Rock Mill Corporate Park. I worked very hard with the city to get infrastructure extended out to Rock Mill so that we could have some shovel-ready pieces of property that we could market, and to work with and present to developers, to business, to say, look, we're here. We've got everything you need right here in Lancaster, Ohio. We've got an entrance now to the bypass that's only a quarter of a mile from the end of Rock Mill. We've got an easy shot to 270, and we're within 8 hours drive of such a percentage of the population. This is the place to be, and I've always been proud to wave that flag and tell that story for Lancaster and Fairfield County. We do need those higher paying jobs. I hope that the citizenry understands that nobody's going out there encouraging another retail establishment to come to Lancaster. That's all market driven. We've got a great group of folks who are out there working every day to get those manufacturing jobs, those warehousing jobs, those jobs that do pay a livable, sustainable wage. And we've had some success. I point with pride to the role I played in getting Crown Cork and Seal to locate in Lancaster, not only because it brought those 100 new jobs, but it saved jobs that were previously associated with Anchor Hocking that could have left our community if we were not successful in luring them away from Kentucky. So I've got a long history in economic development. I understand how it works, and I think that's an expertise that I can continue to bring to the table.
Thank you, Cathy Bitler. Our last question, we'll wrap up today's session. We'll start with you, Cathy. What inspires you to run for public office in Lancaster, Ohio?
3 reasons, pure and simple. First, I love this community. It is my hometown. It has given me educational opportunities. Had OUL not been in existence here, and I am so thankful for the thought that people put into that more than 50 years ago to have that campus here. But had OUL not been here, I don't know what I would have done about going to college right out of high school. That might not have been possible for me. So educational opportunities through Lancaster High School and OUL. Employment opportunities. I've never gone through a period where I haven't had a job in my hometown. And whether that was right out during high school, right out of high school and college. This town has given me so much, and I want to give back. It's where my husband and I chose to stay after we got married. It's where we chose to raise our daughter, and it's because we love this town. When I walk downtown, I feel myself standing up a little taller and really taking pride in what's going on. The second I've already talked about, you're either part of the solution or part of the problem. I want to be part of the solution. I've spent more than 30 years volunteering in this community, trying to be a part of the solution. I see this as a next logical step in that progression. And then third, the leadership expertise that I have, and that all of those years of leading organizations in the community is a skill that I can bring to the job. And really those are the 3 reasons.
Thank you, Cathy. Greg Russell, the same question to you. What inspires you to run for public office in Lancaster?
Again, my passion for this community. I've lived here all my life and raised 3 wonderful children here in Lancaster and graduated from Lancaster High School. And also this town has gave me a lot. When I was a salesman in my past life, but bowling has always been my passion. Started when I was 6 years old, and I always had this goal that I told Coach Bowman that I wanted to someday either manage or own a bowling center. So guess what? That come to fruition, and I'm very proud to say that. So 23 years proud working at Tiki Bowling Lanes and giving back just in that aspect of the things that I've done through Tiki with the different, like Cathy said, the different organizations, fundraising efforts and things like that. But paying forward is my biggest thing that I want to tell the voters. I care about this community. I don't have as much background in management in numerous organizations, but I do have presidential backgrounds that I do how to conduct meetings, and I do think that with Ken working with me and being a great mentor, my transition into that position as council president, I think I could do that very easily and quickly and with no interruptions, and just very, very proud to serve this community.
Well, I want to thank you both for coming in today, spending time with us. Cathy Bitler, Greg Russell, candidates for Lancaster City Council President. Again, the election is November 5th. Make sure you get out and vote.
Absolutely.
If you do not vote, you don't have anybody else to blame. So we thank the crew here today. Once again, you've been listening to Lancaster Perspective. I'm Mike Miller. Thanks for tuning in. Remember, until we meet again, let's make a difference.
International presents the Very Merry Christmas Tour, featuring new song, Audio Adrenaline, Sidewalk Prophets, Jason Castro, and special guest Love in the Outcome. Share the gift of hope with your family and friends this season and enjoy one of Christian music's most beloved Christmas songs. Join New Song for the Very Merry Christmas Tour, featuring New Song, Audio Adrenaline, Sidewalk Prophets, Jason Castro, and Love in the Outcome.
Presented by Fairfield Christian Academy at Fairfield Christian Church in Lancaster. December 11th at 7 p.m. Doors open at 6. Tickets at itickets.com.